All right. We are back on the PNP, the Prime Nostalgia Podcast. I am your host, LeeBoyTV, and I'm with Prime. We still spelling things out just in case y'all can't figure it out. Look, that's where y'all can go on Google and find us and everything. Look, no excuses. No excuses. Leeboy TV and Prime from the Prime Nostalgia Podcast. And we have some extra special guests. This is actually our first time having a parent and child duo. No, did I say second time or first time? I'm just talking about a minute. This is the second time you guys are in special company. The first time around, we had John Amos and Casey Amos. And this time, we have Aria Brooks and LaToya Brooks. Thank you guys for coming on. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. How are you?
Man, I'm good. You know, it was a little bit of struggle, as we talked about, for me to get here, but I'm in one piece. Kids are still in one piece. But
that's all that matters.
Sometimes it's all about me. I still try to make it about me at times. But and Mama Brooks, you know all about managing these kids in this entertainment business, trying to do it because you still doing your thing as well. You got a very successful young lady that's on screen with us, is doing her thing. But Mama, you still holding it down in the business for yourself. And so we wanted to make sure we could pair you guys up and, get your perspective on how you've been able to manage, not just as a momager, but as a manager of many things. So, yeah, if you can, just give us an intro, a little bit of your background leading up to how you got Aria in the business.
Okay, I'll try to make it as quick as I can.
Oh, because we don't have some follow-up questions. So yeah, just a little background.
Well, I am a performing arts educator. I have over 20 plus years of experience coaching youth and young adults as far as performing arts is concerned. So everything from like music to drama to dance. And I was in education for about 15 of those years. Aria came to me 4.5 years ago and said, I want to be on camera. She had already been in musical theater. All of my children have to do something with the arts.
Gotta do something.
Totally up to you what direction you choose in the arts, but it's got to be something. So she had already done musical theater. She was very active in like chorus and things like that. And then 10 years old, she said, I want to be on TV. And I was like, no. I was like, I've heard horror stories and I don't want you to be a part of that. So we got like a scam audition, like, yeah, we could put you at Disney and all this other stuff. So we went. They basically asked us for like $3,000. She cried her little eyes out because I was like, no, ma'am, we're not doing that.
Please, Mom, come up with 3,000, please.
But it's funny, even if I had it, I was like, this don't even feel right. And so afterwards, after she calmed down, she was like, I want to do another audition. I still want to do it. I was like, seriously? Like after that, I would have been like, that was confirmation for me. But you could tell that it was her gift. It was like her passion. She was still like, nope, I don't care what it takes. I want to do it. So I just had to figure out what that looked like. And just, I guess, maneuvering through the process and trial and error and falling on my face, I figured it out. Got her signed by an agent, and I've been kind of just managing her as well as my middle daughter. She's done a few projects as well. Just kind of fell into my lap, and we're doing pretty well, I guess. She enjoys it.
I mean, in 4 years, in just short 4 years, she's been able to accomplish a lot. So kudos to Miss Aria. Yeah. You doing your thing out there. I mean, from Harriet, Dolly Parton, we're gonna get into all of it, but she's had some great projects. And I saw that she actually had you had a TV series before you were actually on all that. Was it an internet series or?
I was in a web series. Me and my sisters that were in the web series together.
Awesome. How long did that last?
Well,
it was a couple seasons. Y'all did some episodes. I was like,
and then like one of the seasons got like shut down because of like COVID and everything. But it was a few seasons. I auditioned when I don't know how old I was, but it was years ago. I was very young. So like around 10, 11, and I auditioned with like a monologue that was so corny, so cringy, and I'm so glad I don't know it. I'm really glad I don't.
Oh, because we was gonna
But
ask
it's
you to do it. Now I'm playing.
no. I can tell you it's about dragons.
I'm sure I have the video somewhere.
No, she's not gonna send that. But it's about
called Saved in the City.
It's about dragons. It's called Saved in the City. It's on YouTube, and that was like one of my first projects.
Awesome. And was that before you had an official agent?
I believe so. Yes.
I believe it was the very beginning where we were submitting to things. She might have signed while we were
working on the show. Yeah.
And I think that's an important topic that you brought up is the scams that are out there, because typically, yeah, it's always 3,000, right? And and what do they offer you? Pictures. They were like, oh, we'll take you pictures.
It was so crazy because in the thing that had it, it was like $3,000, but it didn't include any travel stuff. It didn't include like lodging. It included nothing. It was like for some T-shirts, and then for you to go to some competitions that you may or may not win. Mm-hmm. And it was very no.
A lot of us got our start in a bit. I think I joined a similar program, heard it on the radio, went down there. Luckily, you know, there was a showcase that got me in front of some real agents, and I was lucky to, you know, land an agent through a service like that. I was in San Diego, but like, so it seems like they really try to target people that aren't in the Hollywood atmosphere, so you really don't know. And so some of us get lucky, but most of them, because they'll just take anybody. They don't care if you have any level of talent, but you got all the talent in the world, so you was going to find your way anyway. You was going to find your way through. Yeah, and we, you know, I felt like, and we were lucky to actually get in the room with you late last year, you know, actually after all of the craziness that was going on. We got to talk about some Black girl magic and on the set of all of that. So I encourage everyone to look back at our footage for Afro Comic Con, and Aria did great as far as her interview. You're a great interview, by the way, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But what type of advice, though? Because I do know you have Steps to Stardom, and you do a lot of, like you said, coaching for momager types. You know, if you could give just one piece of great advice just to get people started, what would that be for people that see talent in their young children?
Sign with me. No, that was fine.
Oh, what? No, that's great advice. Actually, look, start there.
No, honestly, my goal with Steps to Stardom was simply because it was an onslaught of questions that I received like regularly. What did you do? How did you do it? And then it became a bit overwhelming. But when you give somebody like, oh, well, she signed with an agent and her agent gets her the job. So she's like, oh, okay, I'll just sign with an agent and I'll be good. So there's so much more that nobody is prepared for, you know, and then they have to come back and be like, well, what happens when this and what happens? So I basically took all of the knowledge that I had over the past couple of years and tried to put it on a platform where it feels like almost like a college course, mm-hmm. where you have assignments. I hold you to it. One thing, my advice to parents is to like be unapologetic about what you want this to look like for your child. I think when we first started, a lot of people would be like, oh, well, you got to do this. You got to do this because that's what they're looking for. They're telling you that you have to be this kind of person. This needs to be, and you got to take all the jobs because when you're starting out, because you can't tell them no. And I'm just not that kind of person. And I felt like she was more important. Her childhood was more important. Well, if we don't feel comfortable doing that job, then we just won't do that job. You know, that's just not in the cards for her. But I don't think a lot of parents realize, they feel like if I want my kid to be famous, I got to do whatever I need to do. You know, that it's just not the case. You know, if you want what's best for your child. And some people may want fame and fortune. So are you in it, if you're just in it for the money, you know, or you want your kid to be famous, then you may not have that issue. You know, we'll just do whatever comes our way. But like what was super duper important to me is her being a good person. And I've told her on several occasions, we will shut this down today. You won't act in another thing.
I know,
you know? if you are not a good person, if you're not respectful, if you know what I mean, things like that. So even now with her being on set, people come to me and it's like, she's so professional, she's so nice, she's so respectful, because that was more important than everything else. So I would just tell parents to like be true to who your child is. You can still make sure they have a childhood and still do this on the side. You know what I mean? But they are more important.
Right, right. I mean, and not to throw my mom under the bus, I wish somebody would have gave her that advice, because they had me going out for all these cursing roles, and just how it was back in the 90s,
Yeah.
and so they just wanted to see us young brothers cuss up a storm and not and fight or and all this other stuff. And I think that is what deterred me from really wanting to stay in the business. At some point, I was just like, this ain't me. Like, I'm just a normal kid that just likes to read and play sports and do stuff like that. So no, kudos to you for taking that stance and realize that. And I think a lot of that, if I were to be on the outside looking in, is just your love has to do with your love for the arts. I mean, and really respecting this game, even when it comes not just acting but also the music. And I understand you were actually her music teacher coming up, and that's why y'all got on them vocals and y'all be doing all this. Y'all be doing. Was you a dance teacher too? Because you be killing the moves. Look, I know. I see it. I see you.
It's a little bit.
What type of music did you do? Did you play any instruments yourself? I know also your husband played instruments and you sing, but can you just give us a little bit of your music background?
Yes. So my whole family was musical. We were required to play piano when we were young. So I started playing piano at 7. And when I got to college, I wanted to become a band director. So I was taught to play all of the band instruments so I could play all of them. Wow. I can't play all of them super well, but I can teach everybody each instrument, period. And so those are the instruments that I play. I tell people that I'm not a singer.
He's a singer.
But I sing a little. I like to be.
But you be singing though.
Yeah, I like to sing in the background,
But she's a singer.
As are you, Miss Aria. Right. She taught you well. So and doing some reach out. I mean, just kind of meeting you and knowing you a little bit. I was going to ask if you were a part of a HBCU, and then I looked on your page and was like, yeah, she went to Clark and she's an AKA. And it shows, that it's a great culture that I think, I went to Howard University for a couple years. We're not going to talk about it, but I went up there and, so I got a little bit of the HBCU experience, and it was lovely. How much do you think that experience has, prepared you for, being yourself and instilling those type of values? And Aria, does it play a big role in how you were able to mold not just her career, but also you as a manager?
It's funny that you say that. So I was just one of the contributing authors for the HBCU Experience Band Alumni Edition. And my chapter, along with a lot of other people's chapters, talked about how being in the band in the HBCU pretty much made us who we are today. Mm-hmm. Specifically the band, because the band is very militant, it's very structured. So a lot of that is how I raise my child. And my husband marched in an HBCU band as well. So we are both, the same page as far as life lessons that we learned and we pass on to her. How do you feel that you've been affected? She gonna say I'm mean.
That was in my head, but I wasn't gonna say that. That's what I was thinking. I would not have said it, but you said it first. But no, she's not mean. She's like militant and structured, and like she like wants you to do stuff. Well, she's still structured, but like leading up to now, and now she's taught me the right stuff. It's become, or she's gonna continue to teach me the right stuff. But like once I'm an adult or whatever, she can then like free to like trust that I'm gonna do the right thing, and like in acting and in life and stuff. So I think it's a good thing.
It's positive.
That she did that. I don't like doing dishes, so sometimes that's a little frustrating. But
Wait, what that has to do with anything? Look, you just trying to get your little argument in.
Don't like this shit.
I don't like doing the dishes. But besides that, it's
Mama, all that stars ain't supposed to be doing dishes. Look, I'm gonna stick up. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Honey,
you know that was wrong. You know I was
I
just
was
playing.
like, this podcast about to go in a different direction. But to tell y'all now, so word to parents who have children in the industry, she knows we can leave on set. It's really difficult because there is this. What do you need, Aria? Do you want this? Can I get that? No, you need to get rid of your gum. Put it in my hand. I'll go throw it away.
They do be
Absolutely
doing
not. She will walk into these doors, go get your clothes off the floor, come on over here and wash these dishes. Let's go wash. I mean, but that's what I would have done if she wasn't an actor or actress. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want her to not be a good person. I don't want her to not be a normal kid. There have to be some sort of things to bring her back to that normalcy. So yes, dishes be washed.
So yeah, I mean, and you brought it up earlier. So I wanted to ask you because a lot of people would let me see how I can word this. Would say, you know, these moms are trying to live through their children and live out their own dreams and blah. And you said you didn't even want to have Aria really in the game because you've heard all the horror stories. What are some of those horror stories that you've been able to protect Aria from so far? Because you're still going to be running into the pitfalls. I know I've run into some of the pitfalls, and God bless my mom and all the moms that you know, do their best in this game. Just as a warning out there, and outside of the $3,000 packages, what are some of the things that you would definitely want to guard your child against? Just as a warning to momagers out there.
I'm not a mom, but I have something.
I was about to say she probably
Okay.
Jump in on this one too.
Okay, trust your gut. If you have an off feeling, don't wait till it gets worse. It's like it gets worse at the worst times.
Listen to your child.
Listen to your child. That's good point. Listen to your child feeling, because like even though I think like I feel like the listening period is important because the child and the parent, they're both going through something. Negative or positive. They all have a lot of things on their mind, just in different ways. So listening is very important, and keeping your distance. Don't be in cliques and stuff. Like just kind of be yourself and that kind of thing, because that's important.
Oh, my turn. Thanks. Oh man, the horror stories. So I think she pretty much said it for me. Not being afraid to speak up on your child's behalf, like kind of goes back to what I was saying before about being unapologetic. If they weren't a performer, if they weren't in the industry, it's your job to protect them, you know? And so if she came to you and said, this is happening to me and it's affecting me, it is your job to do something. You know what I mean? I don't know what it would look like in every situation, but it's your job as a parent to do something. So can't get to a set, well, I don't know what to do, or I can't do anything. You have to be willing to speak up for your child. And I will keep it real, very transparent. It's more difficult for African American parents, specifically Black women, trying to speak up for your child in certain settings because it feels like, oh, you know, oh my gosh, I don't want to.
Say about the Black women.
Yeah.
What they, you know, we know what they say. So
yeah, so it was hard for me initially. I didn't want to, and I would make sure I use the right tone, make sure I smile, make sure you say it like this, and it won't matter. I'm gonna be honest, it won't matter how you say it. It'll still feel like, oh, I'm so sorry, don't, you know, I'm like,
we just talking here, yeah.
I'm good, you know, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I would say specifically, like, let's say her hair, you know, natural hair. everybody doesn't do natural hair, which
we
is,
love, by the way, on the show. Yeah, I just had to get that out. We love all the different styles you be pulling off. Yeah.
yes. I That's not a common thing. Not everybody knows how to take care of it. So when you speak up about it, it almost feels like you're being feisty or sassy or whatever. Um, but that's your job. As the parent, it's your job to speak up for them. The horror stories for me, which we got a little glimpse of, but I shut it down quickly, was the mental health. Um, as a child actor, you're growing up in the public eye. You know what I mean? And we didn't have growing up, so you have all kinds of new challenges that you have to add into what they're already dealing with. So you're dealing with your body changing, your life changing. You're dealing with a full-time adult job on top of that. You know what I mean? And you have to try to deal with all of that at the same time. It's going to affect you mentally. One thing that I had going into it was like, I've seen a lot of child actors who go into like alcohol abuse or drug abuse and talk about how the industry is what led them to that. And it was so much pressure. I was like, no, we can't do that. So the minute it felt like it was getting to a point where she was like, I just don't know. I don't got it. You want to come home? We can shut it down. We can come on home. We can get, she was like, no. But you talk about how we've been managing mental health. Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that, actually. Yeah.
Okay, crystals have been helpful, and like that kind of like spiritualityism.
What happened, like, but when it got to the breaking point, what was the first thing we did? We called.
Oh, I got a therapist. He's cool. Really fun, and or not fun, but like helpful. And I started therapy, and then the spirituality stuff, and then I like took a social media break, and then and then after like when the pandemic started and I wasn't like out and about anymore, then I got home. I took a lot of time to focus on myself and do stuff for myself, and that helped a lot. And then crystals.
But that was important. It was important that we didn't focus on anything else but her in that moment. Whatever is going to make you feel better, whatever is going to, it's important for you. I could care less if I got to break a contract. We owe you forever. That's going to have to be the case. Kind of reminds me of Naomi and the whole thing about her leaving the French Open and to focus on her mental health. I am all for it. As soon as I saw it, she was like, I'm not doing any press. I'm focusing on me. That is important. And there shouldn't have been any question. There shouldn't have been any fine. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that I support.
Yeah, if you were to have like the flu and with the times now, COVID, people are going to like tell you to go home and take care of it. But like mental health is the same thing. So physical health and mental health are not the same thing, but they're the same level of importance.
And go hand in hand. Yeah. And, as a former child star, and actually I'm working on a top secret project with child stars, the mental health element is big for us and what we want to get into, and just have people understand what it's like growing up in front of everybody and the pressure to continue in this business and to look successful when you're only halfway successful. And so I think, that is absolutely important, and glad that you're tackling that now. And we've seen Aria take the lead on that question. Now, to lighten it up, I want to know who takes the lead on them TikToks, because y'all got some choreography. Y'all be together doing all this and all the moves. Who taking the lead on that?
It has evolved. Let me tell you about. Wait a minute. Let me tell you about.
Aria's telling the truth right now. Look,
when we were in California, she was like obsessed with TikTok. Like every 5 minutes, if they said you have a 15-minute break, Aria's gone to do a TikTok. I'm like, girl, it cannot be that serious, right?
Serious.
Mommy, do this TikTok with me. Okay, cool. She'll try and teach it to me. We'll do the TikToks or whatever. And then I had to go back to Atlanta while she stayed in California to finish out the season. And that was the one thing that we truly connected on. So when I was in Atlanta, I like missed it. And so I got a TikTok account and I was like, well, now we can like duet each other, right? So that's how it started. That's how I got into the TikTok rabbit hole that I'm in now. Thank you for that. And so when we would do videos and put them out there, those were like, everybody was like, when you gonna do another one? Do another one. That was so cool. So that's how it started. So it went from her teaching me to me now being like, yo, I got this new one and I found. Here, let me do it with me. But yeah, we're both dancers. It's just, I think the priority kind of shifted. She's not really in, she took, the time off social media, and she's kind of like, oh, that's not really my thing. And I'm like, please do a TikTok.
Hey, LaToya, can I get? And she's just like, yeah, sure. What do you need? I can do anything. What do you need? Oh, Aria, what did you do? I'm like,
that's funny.
Okay.
So she took over, Aria. Look, she took over for real. Is that a skit yet on all that? We need to see a whole. I'm sure. Y'all be doing a lot of social media skits.
Y'all were in the TikTok realm and couldn't get out. They couldn't stop.
They couldn't stop doing it. I remember seeing "Don't Touch Your Phone," the game show, something like that. But yeah, that one was hilarious as well. In fact, we're gonna get into a bunch of all that. We're gonna save that for after the break because we're like the unofficial All That podcast. Some people say that. Yeah, a couple people didn't say it. So we'll definitely have tons of questions. Do you have anything specific though for Momma Brooks before we take a break, Prime?
I do, and this is not even a off-brand question. I feel like that's your catchphrase. Is what stop this whole thing right now? Is that
we'll stop this right now?
She said that 3 times this whole interview. She said it 3 times already. So I'm like, is that her catchphrase?
I need everybody to know that. I guess I'm just at a point in life. I was I was shy when I was super duper young. Yeah. I know, girl. I know. I wasn't as outspoken. I wouldn't speak up for myself. Even when I became like an extrovert and, hey, the party person, I still wouldn't speak up for myself. I would allow people to put me in situations where I felt like, well, I don't want any confrontation, so I'm not going to say anything, and I'm just going to. But it affected me more than it affected everybody else, And my mental health is important, and so I was like, nope, that's not an issue anymore, or that's not going to be an issue anymore, and I don't want that for her. So I will shut it down, whatever it is. If it means cutting people off. If it means ending something that we once thought was important, that's what I'll shut it down. Stop it right now.
Look, family first, mental health first, Aria first. That's a good mantra to have. So look, we're gonna shut it down right now, and then we're gonna go into the break. In fact, we gotta play some Aria music. Can you just give a song to the people that you would want them to hear on the break, Miss Aria?
Okay, so I would want you guys to hear If You Knew Me Before, No You Didn't off of my EP Castles. It's my personal favorite. It's a bop. Enjoy.
But yes, we are here with LaToya, aka Momma Brooks, and Aria Brooks. And in the second half, I definitely want to get some All That talk in. As you guys know, we are the unofficial All That podcast, only because I'm an All That cast member. In case you guys didn't know that, yes, I was Leroy back in the day. And Miss Aria Brooks she is a budding member of the cast. She actually came on halfway through a season, similar, and you're in great company because Amanda Bynes did the same thing and she blew it out the water. So we're gonna put the same thing on you. No pressure now. But but you're doing your thing on there, and there's so many questions that we could get into. Prime, you want to open this up because I already know I got my list. I got a lot of things, so I'm gonna throw it to you first.
I don't got no list or anything. I just want to say how does it feel to just, for one, be a part of like a iconic show? That's just first and foremost.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Like when we first got the audition, my mom was like freaking out, and my aunt. And then even after I realized like what all that was, because like I had heard of it, but I wasn't an avid like watcher because I wasn't born yet. But I just like I'd heard of like the reboot because of course it was on before I auditioned and everything. So that's just so amazing, and it's so great to be a part of it.
Just real quick, can you run me through your thought process? Oh, both of y'all, like just for you, Mama Brooks, hearing that all that is coming back, and then that your daughter has a chance to be on the show, and then Aria, from you not even knowing what the show is to like, oh, this actually is that show. So just two thought process.
My thought process when of course I've heard of Good Burger. I'd seen the movie before, multiple times before throughout my life, and then also the reboot. I'd heard of it, so like it was kind of in the back of my mind. And when I heard about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This would be amazing. And that was kind of my thought process. I guess I was partially nervous and partially like at that point I'd been on probably millions of auditions. So it's kind of like, if I don't get it, it's okay. If I do, it's okay too. So it was just like I wasn't as nervous, but I was more so like excited. This is going to be fun. And the whole audition process was super fun too.
Yeah, like she said, she actually auditioned the first time. And we didn't know that it was all that. It's an untitled sketch comedy something. And then they were like, watch episode. Did they say watch episodes of all that as a reference? Or okay. Something in the breakdown made me feel like, wait a minute. We need to. So we started watching it. And I think the first time, I always feel like things will happen when they're supposed to happen. I don't think it was supposed to happen for her in that moment. And in that moment, of course, we didn't know it was all that. So when we found out that's what it was, I was like, I figured that's what it was, And so she got the second audition, and I was like,
they actually like told us.
Yes, because we were like, obviously they're either adding to or whatever. We started watching that season heavily, and figuring out what that looked like. When it comes to auditions for me, I don't get excited anymore. PTSD from an earlier audition where I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for you. This is going to be it. Like her first big audition, and we were like, this is perfect. And she got all the way 3 callbacks with the director, the producer. I was like, girl, I told you this is it. She didn't get it. And we were both like, oh.
Happens. Yeah.
How can they do that to you? You know what I mean? Like, then in the end, they don't even call you or email you like, sorry, we're going in a different direction. You just don't hear anything, and you see them announce somebody else. So that was our first, and that happened very, very early in her career. So we have learned since then. But by the time all that thing came around, we was like, oh, this will be cool. All right, let's prepare for it. Let's go with these characters. Boom. Send the audition. And we were like, all right, we just have to let it go. It can't be let's plan our life around what it will be like if you booked it. And, because that's
you weren't like planning the life around until the third audition, but like after that first one, you were like, you should try and come up with some new characters and practice your characters because I think you did really good on this one.
The tape was amazing. Like, and I think all of her tapes are amazing, but that one, it felt different. I was like, I did. You might want to start preparing. I still wasn't fully engaged because you just never know, but I was like, they're at least going to call you back. So you should prepare something.
Okay.
Yeah, and for a comedic actress, like, getting that audition coming across the table. I know for me, I'm not an comedic actress. I was a comedic actor. When I saw all that audition come across the table, I just immediately, I was jumping into Jim Carrey, doing my Mike Tyson. I was practicing everything from In Living Color. So I knew, and like, there's something in me. I just knew I wanted to really land that job. And I seen a piece of your audition, I think, LaToya. Oh, excuse me, Aria, where you had the grandma wig and you was talking about the church announcements and Kevin Boogers was on some tissue. that was hilarious. Like that low key sent me
Thank
out of
you.
here. Was that in
And that's so
person?
crazy. That was that audition in person.
Yeah, that part of the
Yeah,
audition.
the second and third callbacks were in person, but the grandma character, I didn't do that in my very first like self tape audition. I went in for like
But I told her she should.
I went back for like a work session, and for the second one, and they were kind of like, what was it? The casting directors who were helping me before the audition were kind of like, "Can you do like a grandma?" And I was like, yeah, sure." And so I just kind of did like a mini improv thing. She was like, will you have that prepared tomorrow for the audition? Like write the sketch or whatever." And I was like, "Okay." So I came back for the callback the next day, and it was a hit. It was great, and I like talked to like some of the people, the producers in the audition, and like incorporated them into it so they'll stay awake and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, no, you killed that. And then just watching it made me, think of you as a stand-up comedian. And I just wondering, do you see that as part of your future? I know you like to write and you like to develop these characters. Have you been on that stage? Do you plan on it? Do you see that for yourself in the future?
Completely honest, no. But like one day, if there was like me and my friends wanted to do like stand up at a small stage or something, that would be something fun, and I think I might do well at. But it's not something that I would want to do professionally, as a career. But writing comedy, that kind of thing, I would incorporate that into my scripts and like stories and that kind of thing. No, but not necessarily stand up.
Yeah, it's just a totally different beast, I think, than sketch. But I think your writing skills and your character development would lend yourself to something like that. So don't throw it all, keep it. It could be in the background, but
I
you might
love
have.
watching stand up on YouTube. Like that's what I just watched a comedy special with my mom the other day, and I love watching stand up comedy, but doing it, although I think I'd enjoy it, it's not something that I'm like, this is what I want to do. I'm not like pulled to it.
Quick off-brand question: what stand-up was y'all watching? Who was y'all watching?
Okay, so it was Johnson in her last movie. Angela Johnson. Yeah, it was her. Angela Johnson, Not Fancy on Netflix. She's years ago she did like I don't know what it's called, but she was like your nails so pretty, so nice. She did like the nail salon sketch comedy. That's her. So she did one later, and it was hilarious, and she incorporated that into
Angela Johnson is hilarious. She does like a lot of characters. She does dancing too. She's very physical. She's a great all-around performer.
She was like beatboxing. It was crazy.
She's awesome.
Just real quick, I gotta ask, what, like 2 or 3 comedians or stand-up special that you will want to introduce to Aria in the future that you can't right now, obviously.
Oh look,
Oh, okay. I was like,
you talking about future?
Okay, yeah. Meaning like very inappropriate, probably.
Not that inappropriate, but
halfway.
Well, most of them are the funniest ones to be are. So, that's such a good question.
Or just one, if you could say one. Yeah, it might be hard to come up with a couple. But there's the Martin, there's the
I was
Martin
just about to say Martin is the first
Bernie,
one. So crazy. I saw that on my 16th birthday, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm a huge Martin fan. So like I was, every time that the show came on, I was watching it. Definitely Martin. The Kings of Comedy. It's like a standard, like everybody has to know something from. That's one of those, you haven't seen that one?
Right.
That's it's one more. I feel like the Kevin Hart stand up she would like. You know what I'm saying? Do you like Kevin Hart? He's funny to you? All right. Yeah. Well, I think his stand-ups, not necessarily the last one, but earlier stand-ups were pretty funny in comparison to like just him being Kevin Hart in a movie. The stand-ups are definitely funnier. So off the top of my head, that's honestly all I can think of. So.
Okay.
I'll throw that Jamie Foxx out there too. I might need security. Some more is hilarious too.
Oh, I might need security.
Yeah. He playing on that piano, and remember he going through the club.
You might make me pull that. I have it on DVD.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I watched that like religiously in college.
Mhm.
that is it.
That's a good one for
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I love stand. I tried my hand. I'll tell you, I was trashed the first couple times, and it was right before the pandemic. I'm gonna get up there as soon as they, open up a little bit more in California. But I'm not a quitter. But we will see how that goes. It's fun for me. I embrace the criticism and the challenge. So it's definitely a different challenge that I'm looking to take on in this latter part of my stage of my career that I have still trying to formulate. But as far as all that though, I've heard you say that you love the Bougie Baby skit, which you did great in. And I think that was an interview that you kind of had early on. But what are some of your favorite skits that you've participated in, or a favorite character that you have that people you would want people to see?
I loved my Rihanna character when I did like an impersonation of Rihanna, and then I also loved. Okay, I did a character called Eureka, the slightly off sidekick. Sidekick hers was fun, and then also one of my favorite sketches before I came on the show, but then I got to be a part of it, was Tashley. And that was a really fun. I love Tashley, and then I love my character in the Tashley sketches, so that one was super fun.
And Rihanna was with DJ Salad, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys be killing it. Yeah, you guys be killing it with the celebrity. What am I trying to say? Impersonations in general. So,
thank you.
I love that part of the show, and I love some of the new elements from the show. Like we kind of talked about how they're incorporating social media and things like that in the show. Mom, because you were a fan of the original, all that. What are some of the new type of elements that you like the most? Because they have some callbacks to the old show, but really they're just kind of taking on a new form and making it for 2020 and beyond.
Well, I was going to say that the fact that they're still using old cast members to come and make it feel nostalgic, but still using current events or things that are almost like bridging the gap between the two shows. I would think that's the biggest part, like seeing Kel in a sketch with my kid. You know what I mean? Like that's the part that does it for me, like bridging that gap. I like that we all can watch it together. So they'll do things that are not just for kids, but I feel like a lot of shows and movies that they're doing now, the goal is to make it so that even though it's a design for, let's say, younger kids, if your parent has to sit there and watch it with you, they're going to enjoy it too. Right. I like that that's what they're incorporating. So
do you have a favorite, Aria, a favorite moment with a past cast member, one of us old guys, other than when we was all together in the culture experience, because that was great. But
yes,
on the show or on the set.
I loved when I got to film the Coach Cretan, what was it? Coach Cretan sketch, and then we had
WWE.
Oh yeah. So it was like a wrestling inspired sketch, and then I had to wrestle him, and that was fun. Or wrestle Kel. That was very, very fun. That was probably one of my favorite moments with the past cast members. But I also love meeting them behind the scenes because they're all super nice.
I want to ask you about bloopers. How many times do you think your do you have a lot of bloopers, or you kind of solid? How you do?
No, I'm not solid. I have so many bloopers of times where I will laugh, times where I'll forget a line, times it might not I know the lines, but then my brain will just say, you know what, forget that. We have better things to think about. And it's no, we don't. We're in it now. We're in front of the audience. This is important in this moment. And it's just my brain. She's got a mind of her own, literally. So it's, yeah, I have a lot of bloopers. I remember one in particular, because sometimes I'm pretty sure a lot of sitcoms are like this, but there will be times where the director will come and whisper something in one person's ear and say, okay, do this, but don't tell anyone else. Because there was a specific time where there was a broken vase scene of some sort. And then one of the cast members, he was supposed to break one vase in the sketch, but the director whispered in his ear and told him, go break that vase back there, but don't tell anyone. He broke it, and we were all like, oh my gosh. And I started laughing because I'm like, wait, he was not supposed to do that. But so it's just, bloopers come from everywhere. It's crazy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then, I know just being on the set and, just being on any set really, especially with the cast, and you guys are so close in age, which is, I think, a little bit different from what our experience was. And I know it can be at times, and I don't want to put anything on y'all, but it can get competitive, I guess. What type of skills are you looking to enhance and are you working on? Because I know you take your craft very seriously to offer even more to all that, because you have great natural talent, comedic timing, and
Thank you.
that's what got you on the show. But I'm sure you're always improving yourself and working on things. So what type of things do you think you're working on to improve your status on all that?
Well, I do want to kind of reword that. I'm not doing anything to improve my status for other people. I would only like improve my craft to improve my status with myself and making sure I'm doing everything to the best of my ability. But I think right now I'm working on my writing skills even more, trying to write my scripts more and my songs more. And I've been writing a lot of songs as of late, and also singing, just keeping my singing up to par. That's always been something I've been doing, but like making sure I stay like solid on it. Also, like as of right now, working on this is kind of in real life and in TV and film and stuff, but like my focus and my ability to focus on certain things. I think I'm a very focused person, but I want to be able, like, I've worked with actors and I'll see like before they're just kind of in the zone, they're not talking, they're singing, because that's all I do when we're not rolling, I sing. But like they're just super focused, and although everyone's process is different, so I don't feel like that's me, but I want to be able to like focus before and after, because I think that could take performance from like great to amazing.
Yeah, and thank you for rewarding that, because I don't want to create an environment of competition, but I just want people to see that it really is a job and it's something to take seriously, and you got to stay up on your game, to keep yourself to keep yourself in the forefront, and you do an amazing job at that. And obviously with the help of your mom, she's got a great head on your shoulders. She helped formulate that head you got on them shoulders. So God bless both of you guys, and thank you so much for your hard work, and we just love watching you on there. Keep representing in general, man. It's been great watching you so far.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So before we get out of here, we definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to just plug anything you got coming. Aria, especially your music, we want to hear about that. And then Momma Brooks, anything that you guys got going on as well. And where to find you too on social media and anywhere, wherever we can find you.
Well, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube at It's Aria Brooks. You can find my music, my debut EP, Castles Part 1, on all streaming platforms. So it's Castles by Aria, so check that out. Part 1. So later this year, I'm releasing Part 2 and more music and visualizers and fun stuff. So you have to follow me, like I said, to find it.
By her.
Oh, I wrote the song, yes.
Yes, at Brooks Arts Collective on Instagram and Facebook. Right now, I'm celebrating being an award-winning best-selling author for participating in the HBCU Experience Movement Band Alumni Edition. So you can go out and check out my HBCU band story, get your copy. Right now, not to give too much away, but we're currently in New York because she's filming a movie. So I'm just being momager for right now. My class luckily it's online, so I can do it from wherever. So Steps to Stardom is still working. I've helped quite a few parents. Some of my parents have actually had some celebrations from getting their kids bookings through the class. I'm excited. My goal is not really to help their kids get booked. It's to help the parents be more knowledgeable about getting their kids in the industry. So there's but at Brooks Arts Collective, I do like consultations and things of that nature. And the goal is just to, like she said, release more music at the end of the year for her and see what happens next.
Amen.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the two of you guys together, so I'm happy to get you guys on. And so yeah, just keep having fun, man, on Instagram. We're gonna keep watching. And yeah, you guys are the mama and daughter duo to model themselves after. If anybody watching out there, make sure y'all watch these two because they keep it real and they keep it fun. So thank you once again. And yeah, and then if you want to get into with me, find me on LeeboyTV.com at LeeboyTV on all socials. That's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. LeeboyTV.com. We got some good stuff on there right now. Just did a little Leeboy and Fuzz. Y'all check that out. And yeah, where can they find you at, Prime?
Y'all find me. I'm simple. Twitter, Instagram, KVNG Primetime.
What you trying to say? Wait. You trying to say I'm not simple? Am I confusing?
Nah,
You didn't get it, or
I'm just keeping all my stuff simple.
I'm complicated?
One
like,
line. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, KVNG Primetime. That's all. I'm being simple. Not to say that you're not simple, but you know.
That's what you said. Look, that's exactly what you said.
Come
but
on.
Yeah, this was the Prime Nostalgia Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. And Prime time
is all the time.
All the time, baby.